Who are the teachers you remember most? Probably the ones who went the extra mile, right? Who really put their heart into it. I think you can always tell when teaching is just a job or a passion. Well, for this next teacher, it is definitely a passion. Philip Rossi is a history teacher at Marymount Academy, and he wants his students to fall back in love with learning. Thanks for your time today, Mr. Rossi.
Good afternoon, Natasha.
So I feel like when I think about what it must be like to be a teacher these days, I feel like there's probably never been a more challenging time to be a teacher. There's been an awful lot to contend with. So I'd just like to hear from you, Mr. Rossi. What is it like being a teacher these days?
I mean, I think you said it very well. I mean, there's so many obstacles that we're dealing with now with the pandemic and, really trying to engage our students in learning. But it's trying to find the balance of, trying to respect our own lives, but giving our profession everything we can. That's really the toughest thing, as for myself, at least as a teacher. My wife, too, she's an elementary school teacher, and so we're basically a household of teachers here, and we're constantly supporting each other. Thank God I have her, honestly. And it's really trying to find this balance that is not easy, but we got to do it.
Yeah, I bet that's a huge help that you can, because it'd be so hard to convey to someone who's not in a classroom and dealing with that on a day-to-day basis what it's like. So you each understand what the other one's going through.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, don't get me wrong. We're always bouncing each other's off of each other. We're checking each other's work if everything's okay. Oh, honey, what do you think of this idea? Is this something that my students are going to be engaged with? Yes or no? How could we make it better? Our profession is always it's something that's always evolving, and that we have to be humble about and know that we're constantly learning and also adapting to the times.
Now, Mr. Rossi, I'm curious, you just gave us your perspective about what it's like to be a teacher these days. It's also been an incredibly difficult time to be a kid, a student trying to learn, right? What do you think this time has been like for them?
I mean, if we look back within the last 3 years, their learning has been so fragmented that it's about time we start to get back to some sort of normalcy and reality within the classroom. I mean, I don't foresee the masks really going anywhere within the next couple of weeks there, but it's just there's been a disconnect between students and teachers. Last year at my high school, we did this kind of hybrid model where the students were, especially the secondary 3, 4, and 5 students, they were online for 50% of the time based on which group they fell into alphabetically. So they were never really able to see their friends. And it really hit me last year with the secondary 5 students. It was their last year in high school. And to not be with their friends, that meant, I know it meant a lot to them. Mm-hmm. So once we did this final kind of end-of-year barbecue, it was a hoot. I mean, it was incredible to see everybody all together. We had a great time.
I'm thinking about how this idea of trying to get kids to fall back in love with learning, and that might be something positive that comes out of this pandemic. That school was so disjointed, so fragmented, and maybe there's a new appreciation I certainly saw that with my own kid, who used to be like, I don't want to go to school. She never says that anymore. She always wants to go to school. But did you find that kids had kind of fallen out of love with learning?
They definitely did. I mean, when my current secondary 5s, when pandemic hit, they were in secondary 3, which I always say, secondary 3 is that awkward year of high school where you're not a junior, nor are you a senior. But now they're seniors, and at least my approach to getting them to, kind of engage with learning again is for them to realize that this is their job. Their job when they are at school is to study and focus and, take part in as many activities as they can. They need to be able to kind of separate their personal lives from their professional lives. And that's really my philosophy or my mantra when it comes to teaching, is to be able to get them to I want them to wake up. I want them to wake up and realize that if they don't do certain things, they choose not to do an assignment, well, in the real world, there's going to be consequences to that. So that's my short-term goal for now. But if I'm going to speak a little more long-term or a little altruistically, I don't want them to settle for anything now, and I don't want them to settle for anything later. They have to be able to really, do everything they can now to not waste time in the future, so that they can achieve their goals as soon as humanly possible.
I'm wondering, does that extend, so I'm like not settling for anything, that does that extend like for themselves, but also for others, like that, to set their expectations, or should it really just be focused on themselves, their own goals, and not settling for anything less than they're capable of?
That's a very good point. I mean, I do think there's a certain individuality that they're like kind of, a solo approach that comes to learning, that you need to be in a good space to be able to learn, engage with the material. But I really like what you said. I mean, I think there's a kind of communal approach, whether if it's within a friend group, a classroom, or even within a whole grade level. You have to have people that you can fall back upon. And I mean, I've only been at Marymount Academy for 2 years, and we have such a great community. I mean, we have so many extracurricular activities that cater to so many people. I mean, Haley mentioned in the article in the Gazette that my friend and I, Mr. Daddario, we run a Super Smash Bros. Club for like the kind of, the kids who weren't, who don't take to the sports and whatnot.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like me when I was in high school there. But it was just, we have such a great community, and I know that there's a lot of schools out there that have that as well. And it's important for students to know that they're not alone in this.
We're speaking to Philip Rossi, who is a history teacher at Marymount Academy. And as Mr. Rossi just referenced, he was written about by Haley Jewell in the Montreal Gazette. And we were like, yeah, we want to meet this guy. For him, teaching is definitely a passion. So Mr. Rossi, you're talking about this sort of different approach, flipping the switch between professional and personal, and then the extracurricular, like the Nintendo Super Smash Brothers Club. I want to know, how are the kids responding?
Well, to the Nintendo Club, I mean, especially amongst the junior students, it's an absolute smash, if we're going to use the title of the club in itself. But for this whole like flipping the switch approach, I mean, they know that I always start my classes with a very nonchalant approach. I want to know how their weekend was, whether it was good or bad, and know that like we're there for each other. But I mean, once I get up from my desk and whatnot, they know, the students have to know that it's time to work. And they've grasped this approach, and a lot of other teachers have like kind of done the same. So I've fed off of what they've done. And I mean, Haley, when she reached out to me for this article, it's students in secondary 5 that I'm not going to divulge her name there, but one of my secondary 5 students is a family friend of hers, and she really had this kind of apathetic approach to learning, where she was just completely disconnected. And she told Haley how much she was enjoying my class. And I mean, it's been such a humbling experience. All the great feedback that I got from my family, from my friends, and even from complete strangers. It's been great. I mean, I'm just lucky to have such a great support network. From at the root of it, it's my students. They're incredible. They have so much potential, and unfortunately, they don't realize it.
Well, that's where you come in, and it sounds like you're doing a pretty darn good job of making sure that they know that. I was thinking, at listening to you speak, Mr. Rossi, just how one great teacher can totally change the trajectory of a kid's life. It really, like, it can be the absolute game changer. And I feel like not only, just in meeting you these few moments here, I get that sense of how important this is to you. And I think you're helping kids become better people. And I think in turn, there'll probably be some pretty great teachers that come out of this, that you may be inspiring kids to go on and do the same.
I mean, we just, my students and I just said goodbye to our first, actually, this was my first student teacher, Miss Janet D'Orazio, and she just really, like, I saw such a metamorphosis over the last 7-8 weeks, that she's really on track to be a great teacher. And a lot of my students, from whether if it was from Marymount Academy or my previous school that I was working at, Vincent Massey, they reached out to me and said, you know what, sir, I'd like to be a teacher, whether if it's in English or math or whatnot. And
That's so great.
My approach too is even from my past teachers who have really influenced me.
I think, you're doing good stuff, and it's great to meet you. Keep up the good work, Mr. Rossi. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Natasha. Thanks for having me on.